Hello and welcome to Business 360. I'm Shireen Bhan. The headlines we're tracking for you this evening. The sensex and the nifty end with minor cuts after a range-bound session. Financials take a hit with the nifty bank index losing 1%. Mid-cap index ends with marginal gains. A day after India reported a robust 7.2 GDP growth rate for FY23, multiple economists and brokerages hiked their growth estimates for the fiscal. SBI, UBS, Goldman Sachs, Citi and JP Morgan increased their forecast by 30 to 70 basis points. Automakers report robust sales growth in May. Maruti and M&M see double-digit growth. Maruti's monthly sales are the highest in nearly 3 years. Bajaj Auto sales jumped nearly 30%. Electric two-wheelers get more expensive as the government subsidy cut takes effect from today. Sources say Bajaj Auto, Ola Electric, Ather Energy have already hiked prices. Others likely to follow suit. Setback for Spicejet. The Delhi High Court orders the airline to pay 380 crore rupees to former promoter Kalanithy Maran. Spicejet failed to make a payment of 75 crore rupees in 3 months as ordered by the Supreme Court in February this year. Spicejet continues to contest the matter. The government's offer for sale in Coal India is fully subscribed on day one amid strong institutional interest. Subscription for retail investors opens tomorrow. TCS shares gain as the new CEO Krithivasan takes charge today. He will be the fifth CEO in the company's 55-year history. His biggest challenge to ensure TCS grows faster than its peers. Manipur remains tense with incidents of sporadic violence. The Director General of Police is transferred. The Union Home Minister Amit Shah warns militants to surrender weapons or face action. The US House of Representatives passes a bill to suspend the debt ceiling for 2 years, days before the June 5th deadline. The Senate will vote on the bill later this week. Well, let's head straight to the day's market action, where the Sensex and the Nifty ended 0.25% lower as financial heavyweights underperformed. The Nifty bank fell close to 1%. However, mid-caps relatively outperformed the blue chips. After that, index ended mildly in the green. Pharma stocks also did well this afternoon. Now, the government's offer for sale for Coal India was fully subscribed on day one. The non-retail portion was oversubscribed by more than 3 times. The government will offload up to 3% stake and could raise over 4,000 crore rupees. The floor price has been fixed at 225 rupees a share, which is a discount of over 6% from its Wednesday's closing price. As of March, the government held over 66% stake in Coal India. On to the macro news. Several economists and brokerages have upgraded India's GDP growth forecast for this financial year. And this comes after the economy clocked a faster than expected 6.1% growth in Q4, which lifted growth for FY23 to 7.2%. SBI has hiked its full-year growth forecast by 50 basis points to 6.7%. Goldman Sachs, UBS and Citi have hiked their forecast and expect growth to cross 6%. UBS has hiked its forecast by 70 basis points. JP Morgan increasing its estimate by 50 basis points. Economists are pointing to several tailwinds for growth this fiscal. They believe capital expansion has started to take off and corporate and bank balance sheets are in much better shape than before. So the ability for risk-taking is higher.
When you really look into the data, I think it comes really from government capex. Both state government capex and the central government capex really took off in the last quarter of the fiscal year. What we have found is that in the last couple of months, it has been the informal sector that has really taken off, both in rural India and in urban India. And their consumption basket doesn't get picked up very easily by the CSO in the short run. So my sense is there could be a bit of underestimation there.
A lot of it is driven by government spending on capex, especially central government. State governments seem to have picked up, but over the year, if you see, actually, the state government capex numbers have been a bit on the disappointing side. A lot of it is driven by center. We know that corporate balance sheets are in better shape. Bank balance sheets are in better shape that they can, so it's possible for them to keep expanding lending.
And staying with macros, India's manufacturing output hitting a 31-month high in May on the back of higher factory orders. The manufacturing PMI compiled by S&P Global reached 58.7 in May. S&P has also said that monitored companies have indicated better supply chain conditions. Crude oil prices reversed early losses. Brent now trading around $72 a barrel. This as a potential pause in the US rate hikes and the debt ceiling bill being passed has renewed optimism about a further growth in fuel demand in the US. Government-run oil marketing companies have cut prices of commercial LPG by 83 rupees. A 19-kilogram cylinder will now cost 1,773 rupees in Delhi and 1,725 rupees in Mumbai. This is, of course, for a commercial cylinder. The price of the 14-kilogram domestic cylinder has been kept unchanged. Meanwhile, rates of aviation turbine fuel have also been brought down by 7%, and this comes amidst skyrocketing airfares, so hopefully some of this could be passed on to consumers. More macro data. India's automakers have reported robust sales growth in May. Maruti and M&M have seen double-digit growth. Maruti's monthly sales are the highest in nearly 3 years. Bajaj Auto sales are up nearly 30%. Sonia standing by with more on what's driving growth for Motown. Sonia.
Thanks a lot for that. You know, big trend I've noticed is that the auto sales have been much better than what the street was estimating for most of the companies that have reported up until now. So let's start with the strong numbers. The first one is Bajaj Auto, where the stock hit a 52-week high and has been one of the strongest performers after a good set of numbers that the company reported in May. It's a 29% growth that Bajaj Auto has seen, a large part of it led by domestic growth, which has doubled, and the management is very confident that the trend will continue to improve because the 125cc plus segment has outperformed in the market. After that, we come to Maruti, where the sales have gone up 10.5% year on year. Over here too, you've seen a premium segment growth. So the utility vehicle segment has seen a big surge this time, and that's the premium end, while the mini and compact car segment has been under a bit of pressure. In Escorts, the growth has been pretty good. The management commentary is positive. Total sales growth of almost 10%, almost 9%, and domestic sales growth has been better. And the management said that it's the impending monsoons which are expected to be favorable, as well as a pickup in, the rural spends, which is something that can aid the sales in the months to come. M&M as well, if you look at it, the auto sales have been very strong, led largely by SUV sales, which have seen a growth in excess of 20%. Total auto sales have gone up by 14% year on year, coming in at 61,415 units. But on the flip side, on the weaker side, it's M&M tractor sales that are under a tad bit of pressure. So while peers like Escorts have seen a 9% growth year on year, M&M tractor sales are down by 4% on a year on year basis. But largely, if you'd had to say, more hits than misses in this month's numbers. Back to you.
Okay, more hits than misses. Sonia, many thanks for joining us. And staying with the auto sector, electric two-wheelers are set to get expensive after the government subsidy cut comes into effect today. The costs are expected to rise anywhere between 10,000 rupees to 40,000 rupees. Parikshit standing by now to take us through the details. Parikshit, this was expected given the fact that the government has decided to cut the subsidy availed by these two-wheeler companies from the 1st of June. Now, take us through the quantum of the price hikes that are coming into effect.
Well, for the last 2 years, the electric two-wheeler makers were enjoying a large amount of subsidy per scooter from the government. This has now drastically come down. It was 40% per vehicle earlier. It has now come down to 15% of the ex-factory price of the vehicle, or 15,000 kilowatt hour has come down to 10,000 per kilowatt hour. So the subsidy setback or loss to companies has been in the range of 10,000 to 60,000 rupees in some cases. So some companies have entirely passed on the cost and some have partially decided to pass on the cost to the consumers. Bajaj Auto has increased prices by 22,000, and this is equivalent to the subsidy loss for the company. Ather Energy has suffered a subsidy loss of around 33,000, and they have partially increased prices by 10,000 rupees. Ola Electric has raised prices in the range of 10,000 to 12,000 across their model range. Grease Cotton, which owns Ampere electric scooters, has raised prices in a significant manner from 21,000 to 39,000, depending on which model you're buying. TVS Motor Company has also announced a price increase in the range of 17,000 to 22,000. So the average increase is around 10 to 12,000, and the higher end scooters, you could look at an increase of 40 to 50,000 as well. There will be some impact on working capital of these companies as well, because they'll have to start absorbing these costs, and many are expecting a drop in sales, at least for the next 2 to 3 months.
All right, Parikshit, many thanks for joining us. Foxconn has said that they are in close communication with the Indian government to discuss its proposed semiconductor joint venture with Vedanta. Now, this comes a day after the government said that it is allowing semiconductor program applicants to reapply for more mature nodes. In fact, the Minister of State Rajiv Chandrasekhar told CNBC-TV18 that since Vedanta has access to the 40-nanometer technology, they can apply again under a new window. Vedanta Chairman Anil Agarwal told us yesterday the group is fully equipped to make semiconductors in India.
Semiconductor, these are the very technical. We are very comfortable And this question will come and go, and whether 29 or 30 or 20, we are fully equipped. We have a David Reed, who was the pioneer of making semiconductor. He is hiring 400 people to make this happen. We have already selected the site of Gujarat, and government is with us shoulder to shoulder.
That is Anil Agarwal. Now, the Delhi High Court has ordered Spicejet to pay a total of 380 crore rupees to former promoter Kalanithi Maran. The High Court order is the latest in a long-drawn court battle between the Maran family and the current promoter Ajay Singh over contractual obligations. Spicejet has failed to pay 75 crore rupees to Kalanithi Maran within 3 months, as was directed by the High Court in February. Danish is standing by with the details. Danish.
Well, in a big setback for Spicejet, the Delhi High Court has ordered the airline to pay rupees 380 crores to the former promoter Kalanithi Maran. Since the low-cost carrier failed to make the interest payment in the stipulated time, Delhi High Court has ordered Spicejet to pay rupees 380 crore, which comprises of the entire outstanding amount plus interest in compliance with the Supreme Court order, which is dated 13 February. However, the Delhi High Court has also asked the airline to submit an affidavit of assets within the coming 4 weeks. Spicejet, however, is disputing this amount and claims it has sought extension in time for paying rupees 75 crores. However, in a statement, Spicejet has said that the airline is in discussions with Kalanithi Maran and the firm KL Airways for a comprehensive settlement of the matter, and the airline is confident of resolving this matter mutually, as they've already paid the entire principal amount to rupees 578 crores as earlier awarded by the arbitral tribunal.
All right, many thanks for joining us, Danish. Now, fresh trouble for edtech unicorn Byju's. As per a Bloomberg report, lenders have called off negotiations to restructure Byju's $1.2 billion loan. Lenders had moved a Delaware court accusing the company of burying over $500 million of the raised capital. Aishwarya standing by now with the details. Aishwarya, what does this mean for Byju's? Fresh trouble?
Yes. It's a big blow to Byju's. Lenders have called off the talks to recast the $1.2 billion loan shortly after they moved a Delaware court, accusing Byju's Alpha, the company's U.S. arm, of hiding $500 million. Lenders have said that they can now sell the term loan B securities of the firm as the restraint that came as part of the negotiations is lifted. When CNBC-TV18 reached out to Byju's on the recent development, it refused to issue a comment. However, the firm has denied these allegations and asserted that it did not violate any part of the agreement with the lenders and fulfilled its payment obligations. In a statement to CNBC-TV18 last week, the company said, and I quote, "As Byju's Alpha is a non-operative entity, the funds were transferred to other operative entities for growth and expansion in its global operations. Byju's entered into the term loan B agreement with the clear intention of utilizing the raised funds to drive growth and expansion in its global operations and is free to transfer and use the funds as necessary." End quote. Byju has been trying to appease lenders with repayments and higher coupons to restructure the loan. That's since the company delayed filing its FY21 results by 18 months. Byju's has to make an interest payment on the loan by June 5th. To repay the loan, Byju's has been trying to raise $1 billion in structured debt and equity. Earlier this month, the edtech giant had raised funding of $250 million in debt from U.S. investment firm Davidson Kempner and is still awaiting the remaining $700 million. Byju's has also seen valuation markdowns at the hands of select U.S.-based investors since last year. On May 31st, BlackRock, the minority investor, cut Byju's valuations for the second time since October to $8.4 billion. The company's current valuation stands at $22 billion. Back to you.
Aishwarya, many thanks. Kriti Krithivasan, the veteran at IT giant Tata Consultancy Services, takes over as the MD and CEO from today. He will be the 5th CEO in the company's 55-year history. He succeeds Rajesh Gopinathan, who stepped down from his role as CEO after 6 years at the helm. Rima standing by with the key highlights of his journey at TCS so far and the expectations the street has from him going forward. Rima.
TCS today welcomes its new CEO and MD, K. Krithivasan, the company's 5th CEO since it was set up in 1968. In fact, the company has had only 5 CEOs, and that shows it's a stable ship. It's a testimony to the stability and quality of its management. K. Krithivasan is a TCS veteran. You could call him a lifer, just like his predecessors. He joined in 1989. He's been with the company now for 34 years. During his long tenure at TCS, he's held various leadership roles in delivery, customer relationship, management, large program management, and sales. Prior to his elevation as CEO MD, he was the president and global head of the financial and insurance vertical, the BFSI vertical, which contributes about 32% to TCS's revenues and is the largest sectoral contribution. Now, Kriti holds a bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering from the University of Madras and a master's degree in industrial and management engineering from IIT Kanpur. Now, the question everyone's asking is, does the change of guard at TCS mean a change of strategy? And here, I would like to refer to what Kriti had to tell us in the Q4 earnings call. Leadership change doesn't mean a strategy change. All of us have been working with this organization for so many years, and all of us have a good understanding. Whatever strategy Rajesh put in place was also a collective leadership decision on how we want to go forward. So I don't expect a drastic strategy change. We will be tweaking on what we need to do based on the market situation. Now, the other question everyone's going to be asking him, what is the key ask from him? And here I suspect it will be to grow faster than its peer, faster than the industry. There is no doubt that under Mr. Gopinathan, the prior CEO, TCS has delivered a strong financial performance. The company has delivered a rupee revenue growth of about 11.5%, a constant currency revenue growth of about 8 to 9% over the last 6 years. But its peer, Infosys, has grown faster than TCS over the last 4 years. That said, TCS continues to maintain its margin supremacy over the industry and all its peers.
Rima, many thanks for joining us. Well, start of a new tenure at TCS for Kriti Kritivasan. But up next, Amazon completes a decade in India, from 100 sellers in 2013 to over 1 million now. We take a look at the Amazon India journey when we return.
It's okay for us to nod for everything, because we are parrots. Yes. But your wealth manager? Shouldn't be doing that. You know?
Choose Nuvama. We only do what's right for you and your money. Nuvama. Let's do it right.
दुनिया में कुछ लोग कहते हैं और कुछ लोग करते हैं. जब कहा गया देश में सोलर पावर सफल नहीं हो सकता, तो हमने सुना नहीं, उसे सफल कर दिखाया. कहा देश का सबसे बड़ा पावर प्लांट बनाना इम्पॉसिबल, तो हमने पॉसिबल कर दिया. बोला कोने कोने तक बिजली पहुंचाना किसी के बस की बात नहीं, हमने पहुंचा दी. सवाल उठे, एनवायरमेंट फ्रेंडली गैस सब तक कैसे पहुंचेगी? हमने वो भी पहुंचा दी. कहा तो ये भी गया पैकेज फूड बिजनेस हमसे नहीं हो पाएगा, लेकिन हमने कर दिखाया. बातें उठी, सीमेंट सेक्टर में हम कभी स्ट्रांग नहीं बन सकते, तो हमने सुना नहीं, बन के दिखाया. चर्चा हुई देश में इतना बड़ा पोर्ट बनाना असंभव, हमने संभव कर दिखाया. और जब कहा गया देश के एयरपोर्ट्स इंटरनेशनल स्टैंडर्ड्स के नहीं हो सकते, तब भी हमने सुना नहीं, कर दिए. मुश्किलों की नहीं सुनते, हम करके दिखाते हैं. अदानी, हम करके दिखाते हैं.
तू है तो मुझे फिर और क्या चाहिए, तू है तो मुझे फिर और क्या चाहिए.
अभी और कितने चक्कर लगाने पड़ेंगे सर जी?
आप इतनी सी बात क्यों नहीं समझते सर जी? आप हमारा ध्यान रखो, हम आपका ध्यान रखेंगे.
ओ.
9501 200 200 ये
एंटी करप्शन एक्शन लाइन.
मैडम जी आप बेकार में परेशान हो रहे हो। मैं कराता हूँ ना 2 दिन में आपका काम। आप तो बस चढ़ावा चढ़ा देना, घर बैठे आ जाएगा आपका लाइसेंस। आपको ड्राइविंग टेस्ट की भी जरूरत नहीं पड़ेगी।
पक्का?
पक्का जी पक्का।
तो आपने एक नंबर लिखिए, जब बन जाएगा तो उस पे कॉल करिएगा। 9501 200 200 एंटी करप्शन एक्शन लाइन।
अगर आपसे भी कोई रिश्वत मांगे तो कॉल करें 9501 200 200। एंटी करप्शन एक्शन लाइन से पिछले 1 साल में अब तक 300 से ज्यादा भ्रष्टाचारी गिरफ्तार हो चुके हैं। पंजाब में रिश्वत लेने वालों की अब खैर नहीं।
पंजाब के लोगों को ये संदेश देना चाहता हूँ, पंजाब को भ्रष्टाचार मुक्त बनाना हमारा वादा ही नहीं, गारंटी है।
घर कल ही लिस्ट किया था और आज लाइन लग गई। 99 एकर्स पे प्रॉपर्टी आएगी, लेने वालों की लाइन लग जाएगी। घर लेना हो या बेचना, 99 एकर्स से ही पूछना।
Indiana Ophthalmics, a Gujarat-based pharma company, is under the drug regulator's scanner. This after eye drops manufactured by the firm allegedly impacted the eyesight of several patients in Sri Lanka. Ekta joins us now with the latest in what is not good news for the pharma sector in India. Ekta.
The Central Drug Standard Control Organization, or the CDSCO, India's drug regulatory authority, has initiated a probe into eye drops linked to vision damage in Sri Lanka. The probe is initiated after allegations that a popular steroid eye drop, prednisolone, manufactured by Gujarat-based Indiana Ophthalmics and supplied by Mumbai-based Alvita Pharma, caused severe damage to the eyesight of patients in Sri Lanka. The eye drugs were administered to patients following a cataract surgery in government hospitals. The number of patients impacted could be as high as 35. While the batches were withdrawn and samples have been picked up, which will be sent to the central drug labs for investigation, it is important to note that the drug, as per reports, has been tested by the manufacturer in an accredited lab in India. More so, Indiana Ophthalmics is expected to be one of the larger manufacturers of eye drugs in India, is officially registered with the Ministry of Health in Sri Lanka and has been supplying the same products for the last 7 years. This incident is not the first where eye drops manufactured and exported from India has come under scrutiny. Earlier this year, Tamil Nadu-based private pharma company Global Pharma was in the dock on allegations that the eye drops and ointments used for dry eyes manufactured by them for the US market were contaminated. Their eye drop had been linked to over 50 reports of adverse events in the US, including vision loss and a death. And it's not just eye drops. The latest incident is a grim addition to a spate of incidents of allegedly poor quality or contaminated drugs supplied by Indian companies across different countries. In less than a year, we have seen incidents range from Maran Pharma's cough syrup being allegedly linked to the death of over 65 children in Gambia, Maran Biotech's cough syrup linked to the alleged death of 18 children in Uzbekistan, to WHO issuing an alert on a cough syrup manufactured by Punjab-based QP Pharmchem and marketed by Haryana-based Trillion Pharma. The Indian government has refuted allegations on Made in Pharma. And yes, while the government has begun turning the screws, such as cancelling licenses of 18 pharma companies allegedly manufacturing spurious drugs, to testing of cough syrups at government labs before exporting, experts say steps have to be taken to ensure standardized quality across therapies to prevent long-term impact to India's image as the pharmacy of the world.
Ekta, many thanks. And speaking of Sri Lanka, the country's central bank has cut its interest rates by 250 basis points for the first time in 3 years. This is a sign that the troubled economy is hoping to get to a path of recovery. Amazon has completed a decade in India. It started off with 100 sellers in 2013 and today has more than 1 million. The e-commerce company offers same-day deliveries across 50-plus cities and next-day deliveries in 180 cities. Speaking to Shilpa Ranipeta, Amazon India's Vice President for Asia-Pacific, Akhil Saxena, said that COVID tailwinds have waned, but customers are still buying from the platform. He added that the customer base is moving towards the interior parts of India. Take a look.
It's been a transformation, to be very honest. I mean, I remember our first FC in Bhiwandi.
we would have sellers come on bicycles and auto rickshaws and motorcycles carrying the shipments, saying, here is our inventory, please put it into the warehouses. When we were looking for real estate, when we wanted to expand a network and we went to people in different parts of the country, they would say, do you need godowns? And I was, no, we don't need godowns, we need fulfillment centers. And they were like, what's the difference? Right. And this is very different from what, let's say, an Amazon in the US would typically do. There was no cash on delivery in the US, right? We have cash on delivery in India.
You've spoken mostly in terms of infrastructure and all of that, but as a business growth point of view, if you can run me through what the growth there has been like.
Yeah, I won't have specific numbers to share with you, but I'll give you a sense. For example, we started off with about 100 sellers in 2013. Today, we have more than 1.1 million sellers who sell on Amazon. When we started off, we were doing same-day deliveries to only 3 cities. Today, we do same-day deliveries to more than 50 cities. And that's the change that we have seen in terms of the growth of the business.
But does the recent slowdown that we've seen overall in the industry over the past 1 or 2 years, does that concern you in any way?
I think that COVID tailwinds have petered off, right? So that's very clear.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we believe that the customers are still buying. The online shopping is still happening. Convenience is a big thing for people. That's one. We are also seeing that our customer base is moving more and more towards the interior parts of the country, more tier 3, tier 4, more remote parts. And therefore, the opportunity that we have with all the things that I said as tailwinds to e-commerce growth, and the fact that we have now digital payments that are enabled. I mean, India is one of the front-runner countries in terms of digital payment.
Yeah.
That is a great tailwind for us.
Right.
That allows us to grow our business very rapidly.
What does the next decade look like for Amazon? Where do we go from here in terms of e-commerce operations also? What's the next decade looking like?
I think continued growth is certainly on the cards. And we believe that with the entire work that we are doing in the payment space, the fact that we have invested significantly on the Prime program, the Prime Video, the Prime Music, etc., there is a lot of customer uptake on those programs. And therefore, we believe that allows us the headroom to grow in the future as well.
You spoke about ONDC. What is your sense about ONDC? Do you see that as a complementary growth opportunity, or do you see that as competition? What's your view?
It's a great opportunity for anyone who wants to sell online, right? This is the open network for digital commerce. So it's a great initiative, and we applaud the government for bringing this in. We have committed to being integrated with them. And as I said, we are also exploring what could be the future opportunities for us in this partnership. So I think that piece is on its way.
Well, that is Amazon on its decade in India and the road ahead. And with that, it is time for us to wrap up this edition of Business 360. Thanks very much for watching. Stay tuned to CNBC-TV18. The news continues.